The Recovery Kernel Dancefloor Intelligence Series. Move. The Festival and Club Dance Guide. Put the phone down. You already know where you are. Why this guide exists. Classical building the centurion. Drugs don't make you a better dancer. They make you not care that you're not. Two things kill the dance floor for people who are not using substances. The first is the phone. The second is the private conviction that everyone else knows how to dance and they do not. Both are solvable. The phone is solvable by knowing what to do with your hands instead. The conviction is solvable by understanding that most people on any dance floor are doing exactly three things and calling it dancing, and that three things, done with intention and matched to the music, is genuinely more than enough. Drugs don't fix not knowing how to move. They fix not caring that you don't know how to move. This is the pharmacological reality of MDMA's social disinhibition and alcohol's corticolimbic quieting. The self-consciousness that makes the dance floor feel like an audition disappears with the substance and returns with sobriety. The recovery kernel's approach: give the body genuine tools so the self-consciousness has nothing to work with. The boredom problem is real too. There is a specific quality of droll, waiting between peaks, waiting for the crowd energy to build, waiting for that body across the room to look over, where the phone or the substance becomes the default. Dancing is the other answer. Active physical engagement with the music is genuinely more interesting than the phone. This guide gives that engagement a structure. The Recovery Kernel, Move Guide. Section 0. Before you dance, know the room. The aerial walk, oxygen and CO2, hydration distance, rest stations, conga lines. The arrival protocol, walk the room first. Classical building the centurion, every pilot checks the aircraft before takeoff. Every sailor checks the charts. Walk the venue. The first thing to do upon arrival at any festival venue, club, or event space is not to go to the bar, not to find the dance floor, and not to check who is playing. It is to walk the perimeter of the space with intention. This takes 5 minutes. It provides information that will be unavailable or much harder to gather once the venue fills, once the lights go low, and once the body's state changes. This is not paranoia. It is orientation, the same thing every experienced traveler does in a new hotel, every pilot does before departure, every sailor does before leaving port. Know the geography before you need to navigate it urgently. The 5-point orientation walk. The capacity and crowd density read. Part of the venue walk is noting the current crowd density and estimating where it will be in 2, 4, and 6 hours. This informs where you position yourself on the dance floor for the entire event, and it has a direct physiological reason beyond the practical one. The oxygen/CO2 question: why crowd density affects how you feel. Classical building the centurion, the headache is not always the substances. Sometimes it is the air. Normal air contains approximately 0.04% carbon dioxide, 400 parts per million. In a well-ventilated venue, CO2 stays near this level regardless of crowd size. In a poorly ventilated indoor space, particularly basement venues, low ceiling rooms, or any venue where air circulation has not been adequately designed for the crowd, CO2 builds up as the crowd exhales. How to find better air in any venue. You cannot change the venue's ventilation. You can position yourself where the air is already better. Near the DJ booth, venues are required to protect the DJ from heat and CO2 for extended periods. The ventilation near the DJ position is almost always better than the center of the dance floor. Near external walls, CO2 is denser toward the center of a room and disperses toward the walls where air enters. The edge of the dance floor near an external wall has measurably better air than the center. Near doorways connecting to other spaces, every connected space provides an air exchange pathway. The area between rooms has better air than the interior of either room. Elevated positions, CO2 is slightly heavier than air, but in a moving crowd this effect is minimal. However, the raised platform or balcony area usually has better ventilation by design. Near any visible air handler, vent, or fan, feel for airflow. Moving air equals better CO2 exchange. The temperature difference near a working air handler is perceptible even in a warm venue. Outdoors, outdoor smoking area, outdoor terrace, outdoor stage. Outdoor CO2 is always ambient. If headache, dizziness, or inexplicable fatigue arrives inside, go outside for 10 minutes before attributing everything to the substances. The compound effect, CO2 plus MDMA plus heat plus dehydration plus poor nutrition produce a compound physiological burden. Identifying which component is dominant, and addressing it, requires knowing that CO2 is a component at all. The person who exits to the outdoor area for 10 minutes and feels dramatically better has identified that air quality was a significant factor, not just the substances. The hydration distance map. Classical building the centurion, plan the route when you don't need it. Walk it when you do. The hydration map is practical and specific. During the venue walk, identify and physically walk to each of the following so you know the route in your body, not just in your head. The step count method. During the orientation walk, physically count the steps from your planned dance floor position to each station. Not because you will remember the exact number, but because the physical act of walking the route encodes it in muscle memory. When you need water at hour 3 in an altered state in a dark crowded venue, your feet will remember the route even when your conscious navigation is less reliable. Water, ____ steps from my spot. Direction, ____. Bathroom, near ____ steps. Direction, ____. Bathroom, alternate ____ steps. Direction, ____. Rest area, ____ steps. Direction, ____. Medical station, ____ steps. Direction, ____. Exit nearest dance floor, ____ steps. Direction, ____. This is not excessive. It is the same preparation that emergency services, event staff, and experienced festival goers do as a matter of course. The 5 minutes spent on the orientation walk is the most efficient harm reduction intervention available at any event. The sit, proactive rest versus reactive collapse. Classical building the centurion, the body that rests before it has to is the body that dances until morning. Section 6 of the Move Guide established the caloric and physiological demands of sustained dancing. At full engagement, bounce, two-step, stomp, the body is working at moderate to high intensity. The mistake most people make is continuing at this intensity until the body insists on stopping rather than choosing to rest before that moment. The chill-out room, at venues that have them, the chill-out room is not where you go when the night is over. It is where you go for 10 minutes before returning to the main floor. Many venues design the chill-out deliberately at lower volume and lower temperature. The physiological recovery per minute is faster in the chill-out room than at the edge of the dance floor. The outdoor area, the smoking area or outdoor terrace is the most efficient recovery environment available at most clubs. Lower CO2 than any indoor space. Lower temperature. Lower volume. 10 minutes outdoors at hour 3 is frequently the difference between lasting until 8 a.m. and leaving at 3. The rest is social time. The sit does not require the conversation to stop, the connection to pause, or the experience to diminish. Some of the most memorable conversations at festivals happen at rest. The person who has been dancing for 4 hours has things to say. The rest area is where they get said. The conga line, the great equalizer. Classical building the centurion, the one dance that nobody can be spotted in because everyone is doing it together. Everything in this guide so far has addressed individual dance skill and individual confidence on the floor. The conga line is the exception to everything. It requires no individual skill. It is explicitly inclusive by its structure. It moves through every social barrier on the dance floor by its nature. And it is genuinely joyful in a way that is distinct from every other dance floor experience. The conga line is not a retro novelty. It is the dance floor's most effective social technology for one specific and important purpose, including people who are not yet dancing into the dance. The mechanics, simple on purpose. The step pattern. Forward, take one step with the right foot. Forward, take one step with the left foot. Kick, the right foot kicks lightly out to the side, not high, a low sideways flick about knee height. Forward, step with the left foot. Forward, step with the right foot. Kick, the left foot kicks lightly out to the side. Repeat. The pattern is, step, step, kick, step, step, kick. In 4 of 4 music, step on 1, step on 2, kick on 3, step on 4, step on 1, kick on 2. The hands, on the waist or hips of the person in front, not the shoulders, unstable, and not around the neck, uncomfortable. Hands rest lightly on the sides of the waist. No grip needed. The connection is presence, not hold. The lead, the front of the conga line leads the direction. The line follows. The direction can change at any moment, the lead signals direction with their body. Everyone else follows. No synchronization required beyond following the feet. Joining, the conga line can be joined at any point along its length. Move to the side of the line, step in behind the last person, add hands. You are in. The line does not stop, slow, or acknowledge the addition, it simply becomes longer. The social function, what the conga actually does. When conga lines happen, and when to start one. Natural moments, conga lines tend to emerge during the late-night joyful peak when the crowd energy is high and social boundaries are at their most permeable, the transition between DJs when the energy briefly shifts and people are less locked into individual experience, outdoor daytime festival moments when the weather, the crowd, and the music align into communal joy. How to start one, someone has to go first. Grab the hand or touch the waist of the person next to you. Start stepping the pattern. Reach back to the person behind you. 3 people is a conga line. It will grow. The BPM sweet spot, conga lines work best at 100 to 130 BPM, house music and Afrobeats tempos where the step-step kick pattern falls naturally on beats that the kick drum and snare are marking. At 150 BPM hard techno, the step-step kick becomes physically rushed. At 80 BPM, it is too slow to build momentum. The route, the best conga routes circle the dance floor, pass through the social areas at the edges, and return. The circle picks up maximum people. The linear route, straight through the venue and back, is more physical but picks up fewer people. Putting it together, Section 0 through Section 8. Classical building the centurion, the venue orientation is the first move. The dance is everything after. The complete move guide now runs as follows: arrive, walk the room, map the 5 points, note the crowd density, identify the air zones, count the steps to water and bathroom, note the rest area. Then, find the beat, apply the foundation, match the BPM, borrow from tango and cha-cha when the music calls for it, stomp when the music demands it, lean when less is more, put the phone down, commit to every move, rest before the body insists, return to the floor refreshed. And when the moment arrives, late enough that the social walls have come down, when the crowd energy has reached the specific quality of collective joy that good festival moments produce, start the conga line. Or join one already moving. The line will go where it goes. Pick up everyone it passes. Section 0 of the Recovery Kernel Move Guide Prep End to the main dance guide document. Walk the room. Know the air. Know the water. Know the exit. Then dance. Section 1, the foundation, 3 things every body can do. Classical building the centurion, before any move, there is a principle. The principle is weight transfer. Every form of dance, from Viennese waltz to Afrobeats to Berlin techno, is built on the same physical principle, deliberate transfer of body weight from one foot to the other. Not shuffling. Not swaying. Not lifting your heels alternately. A committed shift of weight. This is what makes movement look intentional. It is the single most important thing in this entire guide. 1.1 Weight Transfer, the Foundation Principle. 1.2 Finding the Beat, for people who think they can't. Most people who say they can't find the beat are actually finding a different layer of the music than the main beat. Electronic music has multiple simultaneous rhythmic layers. Here is the fastest way to find the one you need. Listen for the kick drum, the lowest, most physical hit in electronic music. It typically falls on beats 1, 2, 3, and 4 in house and techno, the 4 on the floor pattern. It is the loudest and most physical element. Feel it in your chest, not just your ears. If you can't hear the kick drum because the venue is overwhelming, watch the DJ's head. Most DJs nod on the one. Follow that. If you still can't find it, watch one person who looks comfortable and mirror their foot timing for 30 seconds. Your nervous system will capture the rhythm through imitation before your conscious mind does. The beat you find does not have to be the beat everyone else is using. Half time is legitimate. Double time is legitimate. The rule is, commit to the one you chose. 1.3 The 3 Universal Moves. 3 moves that work on any dance floor, in any genre, at any skill level. All 3 are based on weight transfer. All 3 can be modified indefinitely. Section 2, Borrowed Moves, What Formal Dance Traditions Actually Teach Us. Classical building the centurian, tango teaches intention. Cha-cha teaches syncopation. Stomp teaches ground. You do not need tango lessons to use what tango knows. You do not need a ballroom background. What the formal traditions have is a developed vocabulary for physical communication, and the most useful elements of that vocabulary are transferable to a club dance floor in about 5 minutes. 2.1 From tango, the frame, the intention, the committed step. Woman dancing on the floor, the most valuable thing tango teaches for club dancing is not a specific step. It is the quality of movement. Argentine tango is built on one principle above everything: every step is a committed decision. There are no tentative steps in tango. When the foot moves, it arrives with full intention. The body knows where it is going before it goes there. The step expresses a choice. This is exactly what separates dancers who look competent from dancers who look lost on any dance floor. Not the complexity of the moves. The intention behind them. 2.2 From cha-cha, the syncopation and the hip. Woman dancing on the floor, the cha-cha teaches you what to do with the and the beat between the beats. The cha-cha count, 1, 2, cha-cha-cha, is syncopation, movement that falls on the and beats between the main beats. Learning to feel the and counts opens the entire in-between space of the music that most people ignore. The cha-cha foot pattern, simplified for club use. Stand with feet together. Weight on left foot. Step right foot slightly right on beat 1. Shift weight to right foot. Bring left foot to center on beat 2. Now the cha-cha-cha, step right on the and before beat 3, center on beat 3, step right again on the and before beat 4. 3 quick weight changes in the space of 2 beats. Step left foot slightly left on beat 5. Repeat mirror. The hip, in cha-cha, the hip movement is automatic if the weight transfer is correct. When all your weight is on one foot, that hip naturally rises slightly. Let it. Do not force the hip movement, let the weight transfer produce it. Forced hip movement looks mechanical. Weight transfer produced hip movement looks natural. The club application, you don't need to execute the full pattern. What cha-cha teaches you is, 1, the hip moves when the weight moves, let it. 2, the and beat is available to you, not every movement has to be on the main beat, and 3, small, rhythmically precise movements communicate more than large imprecise ones. 2.3, the stomp, grounded and percussive. Woman dancing on the floor, the stomp is borrowed from African and Afrobeats traditions. It connects the body to the floor rather than bouncing away from it. The stomp is specifically useful at higher BPMs, 130 plus in hard techno, calm, club music, where the kick drum is aggressive and needs an equally grounded physical response. 2.4, the mini stomp, for when you don't have space. Festival crowds are often tight. The full stomp requires space. The mini stomp is the stomp's intention with 10% of the movement. Weight on left foot. Right heel lifts slightly, not the whole foot, just the heel. On the beat, heel drops back to the floor with deliberate weight. The movement from the outside is almost invisible but from the inside is rhythmically committed. Alternate, left heel lifts and drops on beat 1, right heel lifts and drops on beat 3. Add with the bounce, bounce on 2 and 4, mini stomp on 1 and 3. This creates a 4-beat body pattern that responds to both the kick drum and the snare. The mini stomp is the solution for standing room only situations, for when someone is very close in front of you, and for the late night at a crowded venue where large movements are not possible. Section 3, the BPM map, what move goes with what vibe. Classical building the centurion, the music tells you what to do. You just have to know how to listen with your body. Different music genres have different BPM ranges and different rhythmic emphases. The body naturally responds differently to 100 BPM than to 145 BPM, the mistake is forcing the 145 BPM movement pattern onto 100 BPM music or vice versa. This map matches the movement to the music. Section 4, the phone, what it is actually doing and what to do instead. Classical building the centurion, the phone is a shield. Know what it is shielding against. The phone on the dance floor is performing a specific social function. It provides the appearance of purposeful engagement for the person who does not feel entitled to simply stand in a space and be there. The logic is, if I appear to be doing something, I cannot be judged for not doing the other thing, dancing. The phone is not documentation. The phone is an exit from a social situation the person does not feel equipped to be in. 4.1, what to do instead of the phone. Put it away completely, not in your hand, in your pocket. In your pocket or bag, home screen down, on silent. The phone that can be reached does not have the same psychological weight as the phone that has been deliberately set aside. The lean with hands occupied, if the hands need somewhere to be, one hand on the opposite elbow, one arm extending naturally at mid-height. Or both arms crossed loosely, not defensively, loosely. This is the lean from section 1.3 with a hand position that reads as thoughtful, not defensive. The drink as prop, non-alcoholic version. A drink in one hand gives the hand somewhere to be, creates a natural counterweight to the body's movement, and is universally legible on a dance floor as, I am here and I am comfortable here. Water works. Soda water works. The drink does not need to contain alcohol to perform this social function. The person you are with, the most effective replacement for the phone is genuine eye contact and physical communication with the person you came with. Moving together without formal partner dancing, matching energy, mirroring movements, responding to each other, is both more engaging than the phone and more visible as someone who knows what they are doing. Section 5, what actually looks wrong, and what you just think does. Classical building the centurion, the bar for looking wrong is higher than you think and specific in ways you may not expect. 5.1, things that actually look wrong. 5.2, things you think look wrong but don't. Dancing alone in your own space does not look wrong. Looks intentional. Eyes closed does not look wrong. Looks absorbed in the music, which is correct. Small, repetitive movements do not look wrong when they are rhythmically connected. The person doing a subtle two-step for 3 hours looks more comfortable than the person doing 5 different moves in 30 seconds. Not knowing all the words to the track, this is electronic music. There frequently are no words. Moving differently from everyone around you does not look wrong. Musical responsiveness is individual. The person responding to the hi-hat when everyone else is on the kick is not wrong, they have found a different layer. Sweating does not look wrong. Looks like you have been dancing. 5.3 The one rule that fixes everything. Verdict: commit. The difference between looking like you can dance and looking like you cannot is almost never about the moves. It is about whether the moves you make are made completely. A committed small movement is always more effective than an uncommitted large one. This is the tango principle in one sentence. The person who does a two-step with full weight transfer and intention, the same two-step for the entire night, in good time with the music, looks more competent than the person who does 12 different moves with half weight and visible uncertainty about whether they are doing it right. Commit to the move you are making. Arrive in it. Let the next one come from there. The hesitation between moves is where the self-consciousness lives, not in the moves themselves. Section 6, The Workout Map. Dancing is exercise if you do it right. Classical building the centurion. The body at 145 BPM for 3 hours is doing something. Know what? The Recovery Kernel's physical architecture framework identifies vigorous sustained exercise as one of the most important non-pharmacological interventions for BDNF, dopamine, and endocannabinoid, anandamide, production. A 3-hour set at a techno event, if the body is fully engaged rather than foam-guarded, meets or exceeds the physiological threshold for meaningful exercise. The question is which movements are providing which benefits. 6.1 Caloric burn by dance style. The caloric burn data explains why the leg cramps arrive, why the electrolyte depletion happens, and why food matters during a long festival day. The body doing 500 calories per hour for 4 hours is doing 2,000 calories of work. The hot dog from the vending stand is not meeting that demand. See the addendum's nutrition section. Section 7, The Competitive Dimension. We are natural competitors and that is fine. Classical building the centurion. The hot body across the room is not a distraction. It is part of the information environment. The dance floor is a social arena. It always has been. The early Chicago house clubs and New York voguing balls were explicit competitive performance spaces. Berlin techno's darkness and anonymity is partly a removal of the visual competitive dimension, but it doesn't eliminate it, it just changes what is being competed over: depth of experience, musical knowledge, physical endurance. Pretending the competitive social dimension doesn't exist makes the experience less honest and less navigable. Acknowledging it directly makes it useful. 7.1 The Call and Response. Social dance without making it weird. The dance floor's social dimension has a nonverbal language. Reading and contributing to it. Eye contact, brief, warm, return to the music. Not sustained staring, not avoidance. The moment of mutual acknowledgement between people moving in the same space, lasting perhaps 2 beats, is the smallest complete unit of dance floor social communication. Mirroring, unconsciously beginning to move in synchrony with someone near you is natural human behavior. When it happens with mutual awareness, it is one of the most pleasurable social experiences available at a club. Neither person has to formally propose it. It emerges from proximity and musical responsiveness. The invitation, in contexts where partner dancing is appropriate, the invitation is almost never verbal. A slight angle of the body toward the other person, a weight shift that creates space on one side, sustained eye contact during a shared musical moment, these are the vocabulary. The response is either a mirroring shift of orientation or a continued orientation away. Both are complete and valid communications. The circle. When a space opens in a crowd and people begin forming a circle, the circle is an invitation. Entering the circle means accepting that everyone present will see you. This is not a threat, it is the dance floor version of taking the microphone. Enter only if you are prepared to commit fully to whatever you do. You do not need to do something extraordinary. You need to do something complete. The Recovery Kernel, Move Guide. Sections 8+9. The Classic Move Library. Electric slide running man Roger Rabbit, the spin, the trained Russian doll, and everything else. Dance entropy, the geriatric venue, the intergenerational rescue. Section 8, the classic move library. Classical building the centurion, these moves have survived because they work. Know them. Every move in this library is a living cultural artifact. It was invented by a specific community, in a specific musical context, to express something that words couldn't. The running man came out of the breakdance era's competitive spirit. The electric slide is a descendant of Caribbean line dance traditions. The Roger Rabbit emerged from a specific moment in black music culture. Knowing these moves is knowing their history, even when you are executing them in a dark room at 128 BPM. Each move below includes the step pattern, the BPM range where it works, the genre it comes from, and what makes it look good versus what makes it look wrong. 8.1 Formation and Group Moves. These moves require at least 2 people and work best in groups. They are the social glue of any dance floor, the moves that create community rather than display. The electric slide. Electric slide Marcia Griffith's 1976 became a dance floor institution through the 1980s and 90s. The line formation, everyone faces the same direction, in rows. The power of the electric slide is the visual unison, everyone moving identically, pivoting simultaneously, facing the next wall together. Joining a line is easy, position yourself at the end of a row, watch the person next to you for one cycle, then step in on the next pivot. You do not need to announce yourself. You simply join. The train/hands on shoulders. The train/shoulder groove club staple across multiple decades. 2 or more people, each placing both hands on the shoulders of the person in front of them. The front person leads direction. Everyone follows. The groove is the weight transfer bounce synchronized through the chain. When the front person shifts weight right, the sensation travels back through the hands. The chain moves as one organism. Hands on shoulders, not neck, shoulder placement is comfortable and stable. Neck contact is intrusive. Hip contact is intimate. Shoulders are the social neutral zone. The grip is light, resting, not holding. The hands follow the shoulders as they move rather than directing them. The lead walks the train, forward, circling, weaving through the crowd. The best trains don't follow a straight line, they curve, they reverse, they visit every corner of the space. Like a conga line but tighter and more synchronized. The groove in the train amplifies, each person's movement is felt by the person behind them. Synchronized bouncing through the chain produces a wave effect that is distinctly pleasurable, the body receiving another person's rhythm through the hands and amplifying it back. Genre/BPM, works at 110 to 130 BPM. Most natural in house music and R&B. Can be adapted to any tempo where sustained group movement is possible. The Russian doll. Russian doll/nesting formation LGBT+ club culture and group celebration spaces. 2 people, or 3 or more, positioned so that a taller person stands behind a shorter person, arms wrapped loosely around the shorter person's waist or hips from behind, both grooving in synchronized movement. Like matryoshka nesting dolls, one inside the other, the same shape at different scales, moving as one. The outer person, behind, adjusts their groove to match the inner person's movement first, do not try to lead from behind. Feel what the person in front is doing and match it. Then gradually synchronize. The inner person will feel the sync and lean in. Arm placement, loosely around the waist from behind, no grip. The contact is presence, not hold. The inner person can step out at any time, this is social dancing, not restraint. The move amplifies height difference, works most visually when there is a clear height difference. The nesting is literal, the shorter person appears nested inside the taller person's embrace. The Russian doll can expand, a third person can step behind the outer person, wrapping them in the same way. The nesting goes 3 or 4 deep in jubilant moments. At that point it transitions into a version of the train. When it happens, spontaneously in moments of high communal joy. Can be initiated by placing hands on the waist of someone in front of you during a song that connects. If they lean back rather than step forward, you have a Russian doll. If they step forward, they are not interested in the move. Both responses are complete. The grope the shoulders, group shoulder massage groove. Grope the shoulders festival and group celebration spaces, appears in large group settings. Not what it sounds like. In group dancing, this refers to the spontaneous collective move where a circle or group begins grooving while also giving the person next to them a light shoulder squeeze or massage in rhythm. Everyone receives and gives simultaneously. Stand in a loose circle or line. Left hand on the left shoulder of the person on your left. Right hand on the right shoulder of the person on your right. Now groove. As the beat drops, everyone gives a simultaneous light shoulder press. Release. Press on the next beat. The simultaneous give and receive creates a specifically communal sensation. You are both caretaker and recipient at the same moment. This is one of the few dance forms that explicitly enacts mutual care as the movement itself. The beat of the press should be on the 1 and 3, or on the downbeat of the phrase. Coordinated, light, rhythmically clear. The shoulder groove, some groups use this as an ongoing add-on to standing dancing, one hand on the nearest person's shoulder, weight shifting with the music, the hand gently moving with the body. Less formal than the conga, less structured than the train, more intimate than line dancing. 8.2, the 80s archive. These moves emerged from a specific convergence, the rise of music videos, the aerobics culture, the new wave and hip-hop fusion of the early decade, and the breakdancing explosion. They are embedded in a visual cultural moment. When you execute them, you are referencing something. 8.3, the 90s archive. The 90s dance floor was the most inventive single decade in American popular dance history. Hip-hop, R&B, and the early club scene were all generating new moves simultaneously, and music videos were distributing them globally within weeks of their emergence. Many of these moves have legitimate African and Caribbean roots that the commercial era obscured. They deserve to be executed with some awareness of where they actually came from. 8.4, Contemporary Archive, 2000s present. Contemporary popular dance moves are distributed differently from the 80s and 90s. Social media and short-form video replace music videos as the primary transmission mechanism. A move can become globally known within 48 hours. The shelf life is shorter. But the moves themselves often reference older traditions that give them more depth than their viral origin suggests. 8.5, the Latin Archive. Latin dance traditions are arguably the oldest continuously evolving contribution to contemporary dancefloor culture. Salsa, cumbia, merengue, bachata, and their descendants have all fed into electronic music and club culture across multiple generations. These are not specialty moves for Latin venues, they are tools that work across genre contexts when adapted. 8.6, the spin. On its own because it deserves its own section. The spin is the most universally available move on any dance floor, at any BPM, in any genre. Every dance tradition has a version of it. Every skill level can execute some version of it. And it is the most immediate physical expression of joy available to the solo dancer. When to spin, during a musical phrase transition, when the music makes a statement that your body wants to echo. During a breakdown when the floor is relatively clear. When walking across the dance floor and the music demands it. The spin is available at any moment, it is the improvised exclamation point of dance floor movement. 8.7, Voguing and Ballroom, the archive that belongs here. Voguing Harlem ballroom scene, 1960s present, carried globally by Paris is Burning, 1990, and continued in the global ballroom community. Voguing deserves its own entry in this library because it is the most fully realized dance as identity expression tradition of the 20th century, it is specifically Black and Latino LGBTQ+ in origin, and it has fed into everything from Madonna's 1990 pop moment to every contemporary runway walk as dance that appears at circuit parties globally. The Recovery Kernel, Move Guide. Final Publication Editions. Sections 8.8, 8.11. Cutting Shapes, Shuffle, T-Step, X-Step, Running Man, Electronic, DNB, Hacken, Muzz, Dubstep. Clog, Irish Step, The Bonfire, The Plant. Section 8.8, The Electronic Subculture Archive. Classical Building the Centurion, every genre evolved its own movement. The music demanded a physical response that did not yet exist. These are the results. Unlike the moves in sections 8.2 through 8.4, which emerged from hip-hop, pop, and R&B and were distributed through mainstream media, the moves in this section were invented by the specific communities who built the electronic music scenes that produced them. They were not in music videos. They spread person to person, venue to venue, scene to scene. Some took decades to be named. Some are still most commonly described by demonstration rather than instruction. Cutting Shapes. Cutting Shapes UK Electronic Music Scenes, Garage, House, UK Funky, Electronic, 1990s to present. Cutting Shapes is not a single move. It is a movement philosophy specific to UK electronic music culture. The shapes are the geometric patterns the body makes in space, the angles, the lines, the specific positions the limbs create and then transition between. Cutting them is the act of making those transitions sharply and precisely on the beat. The culture of cutting shapes is a visual one. It emerged from environments where people watched each other dance closely and respected precision and musicality above all other qualities. The person cutting shapes is always responding to the specific musical moment, never repeating a fixed pattern. BPM range, 118 to 135 BPM, UK Garage, UK House, UK Funky, some Grime. The tempo range where the musical events happen frequently enough to cut between but slowly enough that each shape can be held and read clearly. The scene, London clubs, UK garage events, the boiler room aesthetic. Cutting shapes is associated with a specific quality of musical taste and dance floor sophistication in UK electronic culture. The person cutting shapes at a UK electronic event is not performing for the room, they are having a conversation with the music that the room is invited to witness. The Melbourne Shuffle, full technical vocabulary. Melbourne Shuffle. Melbourne, Australia underground rave scene, late 1980s, global spread through EDM 2010s. Section 3 of this guide introduced the shuffle in the BPM map. This section provides the full technical vocabulary. The shuffle is a family of related steps unified by a heel-toe action, a specific quality of floor contact, and a gliding movement quality that distinguishes it from every other dance floor movement in the electronic music context. The T-step, foundation. The X-step, intermediate. The Running Man, electronic/shuffle version. Different from the 80s hip-hop Running Man in section 8.2. The shuffle Running Man is a gliding, traveling version of the same optical illusion. BPM range for all three shuffle moves, 128 to 160 BPM. The T-step and X-step are most effective at 130 to 145. The Running Man works across the full range but becomes genuinely difficult above 155 BPM to maintain quality, it becomes stamping rather than gliding. DNB, drum and bass movement vocabulary. DNB/jungle footwork UK, jungle emerging from sound system culture 1992 to 1994, drum and bass formalizing 1994 onward. Section 3 gave the key instruction for DNB, move to the halftime kick drum, 80 BPM equivalent, not the full breakbeat, 160 to 180 BPM. That is the gateway. Here is the full vocabulary. Hacken and Muzz. Hacken Dutch gabber/hardcore scene, Rotterdam, early 1990s, hacken means to chop or hack in Dutch. Muzz UK, South Asian and Pakistani British club culture crossover with hardcore, 2000s to present. Classical building the centurion, the leg is the instrument. Everything else is accessory. Hacken is one of the most physically demanding dances in this guide. At gabber and hardcore tempos, 150 to 220 bpm, sustained Hacken is comparable to high-intensity interval training. It is also, at its best, one of the most visually compelling. The rapid precision of the alternating leg kicks at speed creates a hypnotic mechanical quality that mirrors the mechanical intensity of the music it belongs to. The physical preparation for Hacken. If you intend to sustain Hacken at high tempo, the following preparations reduce injury risk: hip flexor stretching before the event. The repeated high knee kick fires the hip flexors intensively. Calf and quad warm-up. The landing leg is under plyometric stress on every beat. And electrolyte management. Hacken depletes potassium and magnesium rapidly through sweat at high intensity. The Recovery Kernel's addendum electrolyte protocol applies directly. Dubstep movement vocabulary. Dubstep dance. UK dubstep from South London 2001 to 2006, global spread with Skrillex era brostep 2010 to 2014. Dubstep created its own movement vocabulary because it created music that no existing dance tradition was equipped to respond to. The wobble bass, the halftime groove, the extreme bass drop following extended silence, the glitchy digital artifacts, all of these demanded new physical responses. The clog and Irish step, folk percussion that never left the floor. Clog dance. Northern English industrial communities, 1700s present. Irish step dance, Ireland 17th century present. Classical building. The centurian, the oldest foot percussion on the modern dance floor. It never left. It just changed its clothes. The clog dance and the Irish step are not historical curiosities. Their DNA is in the footwork of every rapid foot electronic dance style in this guide. The Melbourne Shuffle's heel-toe action is directly related to the heel-toe of clog dancing. Hacken's rapid foot percussion is the same principle as Irish step dancing's lightning speed footwork: strength through the leg, speed through the foot, a rigid upper body that allows the legs to do the maximum work. Both traditions also share something with electronic music's philosophy of the beat: they are percussive. The dancer's body is an instrument that creates sound by striking the floor. This is not metaphor in traditional clog dancing. The dancer's wooden-soled shoes are literally percussion instruments. The floor is the drum. The body plays it. The practical application: if you want to improve your Hacken or shuffle footwork, look at clog dance and Irish step tutorial videos specifically for heel-toe technique and footstrike control. The footwork training that centuries of folk dancers developed to improve those specific skills is directly applicable to electronic music dance vocabulary. This is not cross-training as novelty, it is accessing the same source. Section 8.9, The Two Archetypes Nobody Names. Classical building. The centurion, some people are a bonfire. Some people are a plant. Both are correct. Neither is wrong. Every dance floor has them. Nobody officially identifies them. They are not taught in any guide. But they are as real as the T-step and the electric slide, physical expressions so consistent across venues, across decades, across continents that they constitute genuine archetypes of human movement in a musical environment. They appear most visibly when a dancer is elevated, on a speaker, a platform, a dance box, a podium. Elevated above the crowd, with the room's eyes available to them, people tend to collapse into one of these two archetypes. Not by choice, by instinct. The music and the height together reveal something about how the body wants to be in the world. The bonfire. Woman dancing on the floor. Some people become fire when the music peaks. They reach. They expand. They throw sparks. The bonfire dancer on the box is a specific and unmistakable physical phenomenon. The body expands upward and outward. The arms reach. The fingers extend and spread. The movement has an upward direction, a rising quality, a seeking of more height than the box already provides. The body is trying to become larger than it is. The descending arm, the most powerful single movement available to the bonfire dancer, both arms raised to maximum height during the build, then descending with the drop, a controlled downward sweep that lands as the bass hits. The crowd below receives this as a conductor's downbeat. It is a collective breath. The eyes, the bonfire dancer's eyes matter. Eyes looking down at the crowd, making contact with individuals, smiling genuinely. This creates actual energy exchange. Eyes closed in private ecstasy on a public box is a missed opportunity. You are on the box. Be on the box. The plant. Woman dancing on the floor. Some people become rooted when the music plays. Grounded below. Swaying above. Everything moving from a center that does not move. The plant dancer is the bonfire's complementary archetype. Where the bonfire reaches up, the plant goes down, the weight drops, the connection to the floor deepens, the roots go in. And then, from that root, the whole upper body becomes free. The branches move while the trunk is still. The plant in the wind versus the plant in still air, the quality of the imagined environment matters to the quality of the movement. A gentle breeze produces small, refined, continual movement. A strong wind produces bigger, more dramatic direction changes. A storm produces controlled chaos, the roots hold while the branches are genuinely tested. Match the imagined wind to the music's energy. The plant does not choose a fixed sway speed, it responds to the weather of the music. The eyes, the plant dancer's eyes are usually at least partially closed, or have a soft unfocused quality, looking at nothing specific, receiving everything. This is the opposite of the bonfire's directed gaze. Both are correct for their archetype. The box dancer's protocol. Classical building the centurion, you accepted the elevation. Now accept the responsibility. When you step onto a dance box, speaker, platform, or podium at any venue, know your archetype before you step up. Which are you tonight? A bonfire wants the crowd's energy and gives its own back. A plant wants space to be internal and needs to be honored rather than performed at. Knowing which you are tells you whether to seek eye contact, bonfire, or close your eyes, plant. Scan the room before committing to a spot. Where is the crowd energy most alive? Place yourself near it if you are a bonfire, your energy adds to theirs and theirs to yours. Place yourself at the edge if you are a plant, you need space from the crowd's energy to do what you do. Commit from the moment you step up. A tentative box dancer is worse than no box dancer. If you go up, you are choosing to be visible. Be visible with intention. Know when to come down. The box dancer who has been up for 4 hours is no longer a signal, they have become furniture. The energy of the elevation comes from novelty and commitment, both of which have time limits. Come down before the room stops looking up. Bring someone up. The single box dancer performing for the crowd is one energy. The two people on the box dancing together, bonfire and plant, or two bonfires, or two plants, creates a visual dialogue that the crowd experiences as a conversation rather than a performance. Invite someone. The Complete Guide, Publication Note. Classical building the centurion, everything that belongs in the library is now in the library. The Recovery Kernel Move Guide now contains, across its sections and this final publication edition. Section 0, Venue Orientation, the aerial walk, CO2 and oxygen, hydration distance, rest stations, conga lines. Sections 1 to 3, Foundation, weight transfer, 3 universal moves, borrowed moves, tango, cha-cha, stomp, the BPM map across 7 tempo ranges. Sections 4 to 7, the phone problem, what actually looks wrong, the workout map and caloric burn, the competitive dimension and call and response. Section 8, the complete classic move library, formation moves, 80s archive, 90s archive, contemporary archive, Latin archive, the spin, voguing and ballroom, electronic subcultures, cutting shapes, Melbourne shuffle with T-step/X step/running man, DNB vocabulary, Hacken and Muzz, dubstep, clog and Irish step. Section 8.9, the two unnamed archetypes, the bonfire and the plant, with the box dancer's protocol. Section 9, dance entropy and the intergenerational rescue. Every move in this guide was invented by a person in a room with music who needed a way to be in it. The guide ends where the dance floor begins, at the moment when the step patterns become less important than the impulse that created them. Know the steps. Then forget them. Do what the music asks. The Recovery Kernel Move Guide, complete. Section 0, Sections 1 to 7, Section 8, 8.1 to 8.9, Section 9. The Recovery Kernel Dancefloor Intelligence Series. The floor stays alive when someone refuses to leave it. Section 9. Dance Entropy and the Intergenerational Rescue. The Science of a Dance Floor Dying. The one move that brings it back. Dance Entropy, the Physics of a Dance Floor Dying. Classical Building the Centurian, entropy is not a metaphor. It is what happens when energy leaves a system faster than it enters. In thermodynamics, entropy is the tendency of a closed system toward disorder, toward states of lower organized energy. On a dance floor, entropy is the tendency of a crowd toward sitting down. It is the gradual emptying of the floor. The performer playing to increasingly sparse movement. The seated crowd that arrived dancing. The venue that was alive at 10 p.m. and subdued by 1 a.m. Geriatric venue performances, events skewing toward older audiences, events that began early and peaked early, tribute acts and nostalgia shows and the great DJs whose audience has been following them for 30 years, are the specific context where dance entropy is most visible and most consequential. The audience has the most dance knowledge of any crowd in any venue. They have the most emotional investment in the music. They also have the most tired legs, the most decades of social inhibition accumulated, and the most reasons to watch from a chair rather than commit to the floor. 9.1, The Physics of Dance Entropy. 9.2, The Intergenerational Rescue. Classical Building the Centurion, the person who has been dancing since before you were born has something you don't have. Go learn it. This is the section that supersedes everything else in this guide for the specific moment of entropy. Every technique, every step pattern, every borrowed move from tango and cha-cha, none of it matters more than this one social act when the floor is dying and an older person is sitting at the edge watching. 9.3, The Mirror Match. Mirror matching is the specific technique. When you meet someone's groove by reflecting it back to them, several things happen neurologically. They feel seen, not as a viewer of their dancing but as a participant in it. You are not watching their moves, you are doing them. This is fundamentally different. They feel validated, the fact that you chose to match them rather than show them something different communicates, your groove is worth matching. Your groove has value. They become more committed, people dance more fully when their movement is mirrored. The same neuroscience that underlies the social bonding of synchronized movement applies here. You are creating a two-person synchrony. They lead you to moves you do not know. The older dancer at a venue playing music they have followed for 30 years knows things. They have grooves that emerged from decades before the moves in Section 8 of this guide were invented. Mirror them. Learn something real. 9.4, What they know that you don't. Classical Building the Centurion, 30 years on a dance floor is a graduate education that no guide can replace. The person who has been attending events like this since the music was new carries. The original context, they were in the room when the DJ played this song for the first time. They know what this music felt like before it was legacy. That feeling lives in their body. The moves that were authentic then, before the moves were commodified, before they were in music videos, before they were in this guide. The original expression of the movement before it became a named, teachable thing. The social history of the room, who danced with whom, what was happening in the world when this music was made, what it meant to the community it came from. This is not nostalgia. It is living archive. Physical wisdom about sustainability. The dancer who has been dancing for 30 years knows things about pacing, about rest, about how to be on a floor all night without collapse, that the 25-year-old at their first festival does not yet know. Watch how they conserve. Watch how they escalate. That is a curriculum. 9.5, The Ripple Effect. The intergenerational rescue is not a solo act. When a younger person brings an older person onto the floor and dances with them with genuine attention and respect, several things happen simultaneously. The older person's peers notice. One or two people who were sitting next to them will stand up. The critical mass begins to rebuild. The floor energy rises visibly. The DJ can see it. Performers can feel it. A room that was dying gets a signal that the floor wants to be alive. Others on the floor respond to the quality of the interaction. There is something about watching genuine intergenerational dancing that is distinctly moving. It communicates that the music connects across time, across age, across experience. That is a reminder that everyone in the room needed. The knowledge transfers. The younger dancer learns something. The older dancer teaches without being asked to teach. Both leave richer. 9.6 Reigniting the floor, the full entropy rescue protocol. When you identify that a floor is entering entropy, crowd thinning, energy dropping, the performer adjusting to a sitting audience, execute in order. Do not wait for someone else to start. The person who waits for the floor to reignite without acting is part of the entropy. The person who acts is the counterforce. Find one older person at the edge. Execute the intergenerational rescue sequence from 9.2. This is always the first move. Initiate the conga line. From section 0, 3 people is a conga line. Sweep the perimeter, pick up the seated, bring them with you. The conga line crosses every social group and provides zero-skill participation. The train. After the conga circle, slow it to a train, hands on shoulders, synchronized bounce. The physical connection of the train sustains the group energy without requiring individual performance skill. Mirror the floor. Once multiple people are dancing, find the person with the best groove and match them publicly. Other people will watch you match. Some of them will also start matching. Groove propagates through mirroring. Stay. The entropy rescue requires sustained commitment. Stay on the floor. Dance through the transition. The floor that reaches critical mass again does so because someone refused to leave it. The library and the living. Classical building the centurion. Every move in this guide was invented by someone who felt what you feel right now, the music demanding a response. The electric slide was not written in a studio. It emerged from a community of people who needed a way to be in the music together and kept doing the same steps until the steps had a name. The running man was someone's instinct made repeatable. The Roger Rabbit was someone's joy captured and given a pattern. The cabbage patch. The butterfly. The moonwalk. Every move in this archive was invented by a person in a room with music, and their body did something true, and people around them saw it and did it too. The older person at the edge of the venue was in the room when some of these moves were being invented. They were there when the music was new. They carry that original moment in their body, not as memory, but as physical knowledge. The mirror match is not charity. It is scholarship. Dance entropy is what happens when the younger crowd assumes the older crowd has nothing to offer the floor. The intergenerational rescue is what happens when someone understands that the dance floor's living archive is the people who have been on it the longest. Bring them back. Learn what they know. Make them feel welcome in the temple their generation helped build. Sections 8 and 9 of the Recovery Kernel Move Guide. Read with, Section 0, Venue Orientation, Sections 1 to 7, Foundation and BPM Map, Temple Protocols. The floor stays alive when someone refuses to leave it. The dance is the natural architecture. Classical building the centurion, the body that knows how to move has one less reason to reach for the substance. The Recovery Kernel C28 framework names the dopamine, endorphin, and anandamide that the natural architecture produces. Sustained dancing at the right intensity produces all three: the cardiovascular endorphin release, the dopamine of rhythmic reward, the anandamide of sustained rhythmic physical activity. It is the same pharmacological profile that the substances are approximating. The body that knows how to access this through movement has a different relationship to the substances in the room. This guide is not arguing that the drugs make people bad dancers. Some of the greatest dancing in the world happens in the specific biochemical context of a well-run MDMA experience on a dance floor built for it. What this guide argues is that dance skill, independent of that context, changes the experience of every moment on the floor, the opening, the build, the peak, the descent, the morning after memory. The committed two-step is more satisfying to execute than nervous bobbing. The tango pause at the exact right moment in the music is one of the most quietly pleasurable physical experiences available at a club. The full stomp meeting the kick drum at 150 BPM is the body and the music being one thing briefly. These are not substitutes for the pharmacological experience. They are what the pharmacological experience is approximately trying to be. Know the BPM. Know what your body does with it. Commit to the move. Put the phone down. The music is teaching. The body that is moving is the body that can learn. The Recovery Kernel Move Guide. Read with Safety Net, Addendum, Temple Protocols, World Genomic Map. The dance floor is a temple. Move like you know it.